On the harrowing night of June 20th, 2025, a tornado touches down just to the southeast of Enderlin, North Dakota. This tornado underwent a short intensity of EF1 before going on to EF5. This is a story of the tornado that changed the EF scale forever. At 11:02 p.m. Central Daylight Time, this tornado touched down in an open field southeast of Enderlin, North Dakota. The tornado began at EF1 intensity, but then very, very quickly began to intensify. And just only a couple minutes after, the tornado reached EF2 intensity, where it snapped a couple trees and damaged some properties. This tornado started as pretty strong. It began to grow tremendously in size. And this tornado got PDS warned within the first couple of minutes. And then, shortly around 11:10 p.m., the tornado reached EF5 intensity, where winds were estimated to be near 266 miles per hour, as it toppled 33 different train cars and yanked one off the track and threw it 457.7 meters or feet away. Then, the tornado began to wreak havoc around Enderlin, just staying to the east and not directly impacting town. Otherwise, that would have been a real tragedy. Unfortunately, though, many homes were impacted, and at one location sustained EF4 180 mile per hour winds. But the thing is, according to the National Weather Service, had this tornado had proper or sufficient anchoring, it would have been able to get a higher rating of EF5. However, though, this tornado was not done causing extreme devastation yet, as it just began, and it looked to be heading towards Enderlin, but then it decided to make a little cut to the east. Then the tornado was going to do something even worse. However, though, it seemed that using satellite imagery, many homes were shredded beyond recognition, cars were thrown, many buildings were damaged, trees were violently debarked. In one location, a tree was debarked so violently that the root ball was straightly ripped out of the tree. And then, a sandpapering effect was caused to many trees nearby, and this tornado almost got the tornado emergency triggered. However, it only got the PDS warned. And many chasers began to live stream or record this tornado as it was heading straight for the northeast. It seemed to be making a hook as shown imagery, but on October 6, 2025, the National Weather Service deemed that this tornado was of EF5 intensity. However, though, well before that, the tornado was rated EF3 for a preliminary rating. Tim Marshall, the University of Canada, and multiple National Weather Service survey teams in Grand Forks decided that this tornado was of EF5 intensity, and as such rated it EF5, 210 miles per hour, more higher end EF5. However, June 1st, or Ethan Moriarty, decided to do a little damage analysis on this tornado and deemed that this tornado had winds near 264 miles per hour. And these grain hoppers were full, and as in the image you could see grain spilled over. But this tornado wreaked so much havoc that it was unbelievable. Many homes were swept bare off their foundations, In some locations, or some specifically, there was no basement left. Just completely gone. This tornado was definitely a VF5 intensity, and the radar signatures clearly showed as such. Because a gate-to-gate measurement, though kind of gate-to-gate measurements don't really matter, but a 212 mile per hour wind gust was recorded inside the tornado as it was doing its counterclockwise loop, or almost a half loop. And at the end of its life, it was noted that 3 people are killed and 0 were injured. Unfortunately, this tornado caused so much destruction. Right now, there's not an available number of property damage because the estimates are still coming in at the moment. However, on a side note, this tornado grew to a maximum width of 1,850 yards, or 1.05 miles. This tornado was extremely violent, and more notably, it was the first EF5 in over 12 years. And more knowingly became extremely violent in the coming days. But anyway, this tornado was very rain-wrapped for a few brief moments of its life and had an amazing structure to the mesocyclone. This tornado was spinning violently. The motion was heavily noted, but this tornado nearly got the tornado emergency triggered due to the fact that a large and dangerous tornado was on the ground, heading to the northeast. It was also noted that in this state, in 1957, June 20th, 2025, marked just about 58 years, or 68 years, since the Fargo, North Dakota F5. And more notably, these 2 tornadoes were very significant for North Dakotan history. This was also the 3rd or 4th EF5 or F5 to have occurred in North Dakota. And of all places, it had to be North Dakota for some strange reason. Either way, though, I would have to agree that the National Weather Service did a good job of surveying this tornado. They did their job very well, properly, and took it like they were supposed to. Many trees were toppled. Many homes were absolutely wrecked. Cars were thrown about for miles on end. This tornado was deemed to be the strongest tornado in North Dakota history since 1957. Because, for one, this tornado damaged and devastated many homes, many families. It will never be forgotten, but one thing we do know is that whenever a tornado hits, always seek shelter, because you never know what could happen. It could either kill you or not kill you. We never know, but this tornado was clearly just tremendously violent, and it grew exponentially wide, very, very wide, over a mile wide, but this tornado really did have potential to be EF5. And in other words, this was the most strongest tornado in recent years. More arguably, it contends with as the strongest tornado in history, along with Mayfield and Greenfield, along with maybe Elkhorn too, but these tornadoes are separate. This was probably the best job done the National Weather Service done in a very long time. And this rating wasn't controversial either. It was just right. This tornado clearly had enough power to throw trains extremely far distances. But who knows what could have happened if it hit a heavily populated area. It's scary to think about, but thankfully this tornado hit mostly open fields And it's just amazing to think that this tornado didn't kill anymore. But 3 is just 3 too many. These train damage photos come from Aaron Rigsby. And, I mean, I really have no words. This tornado was too violent to imagine, because this was the strongest tornado that had winds over 200 miles per hour. Probably the strongest tornado since the Greenfield EF4 tornado on May 21st, 2024. Also, the WSR-88D radar measured that this tornado had winds in excess of 212 miles per hour at one point. And then the unofficial intensity is 266 miles per hour, making this the strongest tornado in American history.